The moment you turn 70, your brain performs a silent shift that nobody talks about, a shift so dramatic that more than 1,211 daily neurological and hormonal activities begin to slow, misfire, or shut down, and it triggers a chain reaction through every system in your body. Scientists at Harvard discovered that after 70, the brain changes its hierarchy of survival, redirecting energy away from growth and regeneration and into preservation mode. And as one switch is why your balance changes, your sleep patterns break, your digestion slows, your muscles shrink faster, and your heart and immune system suddenly feel more vulnerable. The most shocking part is that this is not gradual. It is a biological event, a pivot moment like a power grid rerouting electricity, and if you don't know it's happening, it can accelerate your aging 3 times faster than it should. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic revealed that this shutdown leads to weaker nerve signals, slower metabolism, reduced oxygen flow, higher inflammation, and memory processing interruptions that leave millions of seniors wondering, why does everything feel different now? The truth is, 70 is not the beginning of the end. It is the beginning of a new code your body runs on. And if you understand these 7 changes, you can slow them, fight them, and in some cases, reverse their impact entirely. In this video, I will reveal the 7 biggest changes that hit your body after 70, what causes each one, and how to take control and make sure you stay to the end, because change number 1 is the most dangerous and the most life-altering, linked to brain aging, heart decline, and independence loss in studies that stunned even neurologists. All scientific references are listed in the description after the video. Before we continue, answer this in the comments. What change did you feel first after 60? Energy, memory, balance, or sleep? I'm going to respond to as many as possible. Now let's begin with change number 7, because once you recognize these hidden shifts, you can stop them from controlling the rest of your life. Number 7, your sleep architecture completely restructures itself. After you get 70, something fascinating happens to your sleep that nobody really talks about. Your brain literally rewrites its entire sleep programming, shifting from the deep, heavy sleep patterns of younger years to what scientists call polyphasic sleep architecture. This means instead of sleeping in one long 8-hour stretch, your body naturally wants to sleep in shorter segments throughout the day, which explains why so many people over 70 find themselves dozing off during afternoon TV shows or waking up at ungodly hours feeling completely refreshed. The pineal gland in your brain, that tiny pine cone-shaped structure that controls your sleep-wake cycle, starts producing melatonin differently, not less of it as many people think, but actually releasing it in smaller, more frequent bursts throughout the day rather than one big dump at night. The key to working with this change rather than fighting it is to embrace what sleep researchers call strategic napping, taking 20 to 30-minute power naps when your body naturally feels tired, usually around 1 p.m. and 4 p.m., which aligns perfectly with your new circadian rhythm. Creating a sleep sanctuary becomes crucial at this age, which means keeping your bedroom temperature between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit, as your body's thermoregulation becomes less efficient and you need external help maintaining optimal sleep temperature. Many people over 70 make the mistake of lying in bed trying to force themselves back to sleep when they wake at 4 a.m., but sleep scientists recommend getting up and engaging in quiet activities like reading or light stretching until you feel sleepy again, working with your body's new rhythm instead of against it. Installing blackout curtains becomes essential because your eyes become more sensitive to light disruption, and even the smallest LED from a phone charger can trigger your newly sensitive wake response. The most effective approach is to think of sleep like a cat does, taking it when it comes naturally rather than forcing it into rigid schedules, and keeping a sleep diary to identify your body's new natural sleep windows so you can plan your day around them rather than fighting biology. But while your sleep transforms, something even more dramatic happens to your muscles that can determine whether you maintain independence or not. Before we continue, smash that like button and subscribe right now. Don't miss the life-changing tips still ahead. Number 6, muscle fibers switch from power to endurance mode. The moment you cross into your 8th decade, your muscle fibers undergo a remarkable transformation that exercise physiologists have only recently begun to understand. Your fast-twitch muscle fibers, the ones responsible for explosive movements like jumping or sprinting, begin converting into slow-twitch fibers that excel at endurance activities. This cellular metamorphosis happens because your body's production of growth hormone and testosterone plummets by nearly 50% compared to your 50s, triggering a survival mechanism where your muscles prioritize efficiency over power. Think of it like your body trading in a sports car for a hybrid. You lose top speed but gain incredible fuel efficiency and reliability. The sarcopenia, or muscle loss, that everyone warns you about isn't just about losing muscle mass. It's about your remaining muscles literally changing their fundamental structure and function at the cellular level. Your mitochondria, those tiny powerhouses inside your muscle cells, actually increase in number within your slow twitch fibers, making you naturally better at activities requiring sustained effort rather than quick bursts. This is why many 70-year-olds find they can walk for hours without getting tired but struggle to open a stubborn jar lid. The solution isn't trying to rebuild the explosive power of youth through heavy weightlifting, which can actually cause injury at this age, but instead focusing on resistance band training and bodyweight exercises that work with your muscles' new endurance-focused configuration. Swimming becomes the absolute gold standard exercise after 70 because it perfectly matches your muscles' new operational mode while being completely joint-friendly, and studies show that people who swim 3 times a week after 70 maintain 80% more functional muscle mass than those who don't exercise. Protein timing becomes absolutely critical. Consuming 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein within 30 minutes after any physical activity helps your muscles maintain their mass despite the cellular changes, and spreading protein intake throughout the day in 4 to 5 smaller meals works better than 3 large ones because your muscles can only process so much protein at once. Adding creatine supplementation, something most people associate with young bodybuilders, actually becomes incredibly beneficial after 70 because it helps your transformed muscle fibers maintain their energy production capacity, with studies showing a 15% improvement in daily function for those who supplement with just 3 grams daily. The key is accepting that your muscles are transforming for a good reason. They're optimizing for the long haul rather than short sprints, and working with this change rather than against it leads to better outcomes and fewer injuries. Speaking of transformations, wait until you hear what happens to your digestive system. It's like getting an entirely new stomach. Number 5, your gut develops its own intelligence network. Around age 70, your digestive system undergoes such a profound transformation that gastroenterologists now refer to it as the second brain awakening, where your gut literally develops new neural pathways and communication systems that didn't exist in your younger years. Your intestinal walls start producing different ratios of digestive enzymes, with a dramatic decrease in lactase and pepsin production, but an increase in other enzymes that help break down plant fibers and complex carbohydrates, essentially reprogramming your digestive preferences at the molecular level. The gut microbiome, that collection of trillions of bacteria living in your intestines, experiences what scientists call the Great Shift, where bacterial species that dominated for decades suddenly give way to entirely new populations that are better suited for extracting nutrients from smaller amounts of food. This is why many people over 70 suddenly develop lactose intolerance even if they've been drinking milk their whole lives, or find that foods they once loved now cause discomfort while foods they previously avoided become appealing. Your stomach actually shrinks by about 20% in capacity, but becomes more efficient at signaling fullness, which is your body's way of preventing overeating when your metabolism has slowed. Fermented foods become absolutely essential after 70, not just yogurt, but also kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, and kombucha, because they provide the specific bacterial strains your transformed gut needs to function optimally, and studies show that people who eat fermented foods daily have 60% less digestive discomfort. The timing of your largest meal should shift to midday rather than evening as your digestive system's circadian rhythm changes and becomes most active between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., with evening digestion becoming significantly slower and less efficient. Fiber intake needs to increase gradually to about 35 grams per day, but it must be soluble fiber from sources like oats, beans, and apples rather than insoluble fiber from whole grains, which your transformed digestive system struggles to process. Temperature matters more than ever. Room temperature or warm foods digest significantly better than cold foods because your stomach's acid production decreases and needs the help of food temperature to break down nutrients effectively. Your taste buds are about to join this transformation party in ways that will completely change how you experience food. Number 4, taste buds regenerate with different sensitivities. Here's something that will blow your mind about turning 70. Your taste buds don't just deteriorate like everyone assumes. They actually regenerate with completely different sensitivity patterns, creating what food scientists call the flavor flip phenomenon. Your mouth typically has about 10,000 taste buds that regenerate every 2 weeks throughout your life, but after 70, they regenerate with altered receptor configurations that make sweet things taste less sweet, salty things taste less salty, but surprisingly make bitter and umami flavors taste stronger and more complex. The really fascinating part is that your brain's interpretation center for taste, located in the insular cortex, action develops new neural pathways that prioritize nutritional detection over pure flavor pleasure, meaning your body becomes better at detecting what nutrients are in food even as traditional flavors become muted. This is why many people over 70 suddenly develop cravings for foods they never liked before. Your body is literally tasting nutrients rather than just flavors, detecting the iron in spinach or the calcium in sardines in ways your younger taste buds couldn't. The dangerous part is that because sweet and salty tastes diminish, many people over 70 accidentally oversalt or oversugar their food trying to achieve familiar flavors, leading to health issues that could be avoided by understanding this transformation. The solution is to embrace umami-rich foods like mushrooms, aged cheeses, tomatoes, and miso paste, which your transformed taste buds can detect even more strongly than before, creating satisfying flavors without excess salt or sugar. Texture becomes increasingly important for food satisfaction after 70 because your brain starts relying more on mouthfeel than pure taste, which is why crunchy foods like nuts and raw vegetables become more appealing even if their flavors seem muted. Temperature variation in meals becomes crucial. Having both hot and cold elements on your plate stimulates different taste receptors and creates a more satisfying eating experience despite the altered taste perception. Adding citrus zest rather than juice, fresh herbs at the end of cooking rather than during, and using spices like smoked paprika that combine multiple sensory elements helps compensate for the taste transformation while keeping meals interesting and nutritious. The timing of eating becomes important too. Your taste buds are most sensitive in the morning and progressively less sensitive throughout the day, so enjoying your favorite foods at breakfast when you can taste them best makes meals more satisfying. But these taste changes pale in comparison to what happens to your temperature regulation system. Number 3. Your internal thermostat rewires itself completely. At 70, your hypothalamus, that almond-sized region in your brain that controls body temperature, undergoes a complete recalibration that fundamentally changes how you experience hot and cold, creating what researchers call thermoregulatory redistribution syndrome. Your body stops maintaining the tight 98.6-degree baseline it held for decades and instead allows for a wider temperature fluctuation range, typically between 97.2 and 99.1 degrees throughout the day, which is actually more energy efficient but feels strange when you're used to stability. The really interesting part is that your brown fat, that special type of fat that generates heat, actually increases after 70 in what scientists believe is a compensatory mechanism, but it activates differently, requiring movement or mild exercise to trigger rather than just cold exposure like in younger people. This transformation explains why people over 70 often experience sudden hot flashes or cold spells that have nothing to do with menopause. It's your body experimenting with its new temperature regulation system, trying to find efficiency in this new operational mode. Layer dressing becomes absolutely essential, but not just any layers. You need moisture-wicking base layers because your sweat response becomes irregular, insulating middle layers that can be easily adjusted, and wind-resistant outer layers because your sensitivity to air movement increases dramatically. The bedroom temperature sweet spot shifts to between 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit for optimal sleep, but you need the ability to quickly adjust blankets because your temperature needs will fluctuate throughout the night in cycles that didn't exist before. Exercise timing matters more than ever. Morning exercise when your body temperature is naturally lowest helps establish better temperature regulation for the entire day, while evening exercise can disrupt your sleep because your body takes longer to cool down. Hydration becomes critical for temperature regulation because your thirst sensation decreases while your need for water to regulate temperature actually increases, requiring conscious effort to drink water every hour even when not thirsty. Hot baths and saunas surprisingly become beneficial for training your new temperature system. Regular exposure to controlled temperature extremes helps your body practice its new regulation patterns and improves overall thermal comfort. Now prepare yourself for the financial transformation that nobody talks about but affects literally everyone over 70. Number 2, your brain's financial processing center transforms. This is going to sound bizarre, but after 70, the part of your brain that processes financial decisions, primarily the ventromedial prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex, literally rewires itself to prioritize generosity and legacy over accumulation in what neuroscientists call the generosity shift. Brain scans show that when people over 70 look at money or make financial decisions, entirely different neural pathways light up compared to younger brains. The reward centers that used to fire when acquiring money now fire more strongly when giving it away or spending it on experiences. Your brain starts producing different levels of dopamine and serotonin in response to financial stimuli, making saving feel less rewarding and spending on others feel more satisfying, which explains why so many grandparents can't help but spoil their grandchildren, even if they were frugal their entire lives. The risk assessment part of your brain also transforms, but not in the way you might expect. You become simultaneously more conservative with necessary funds, but more willing to take risks with extra money, creating a dual track financial personality that didn't exist before. The dangerous part is that this brain change makes people over 70 particularly vulnerable to financial scams because the brain regions that detect deception and suspicious behavior actually shrink while the regions associated with trust and generosity expand. The key in managing this transformation is setting up automatic financial guardrails before it fully kicks in. Things like automatic bill pay, spending limits on credit cards, and requiring multiple signatures for large transactions. Creating separate accounts for different purposes becomes crucial. A necessity account for bills and essential expenses that's protected from the generosity impulse, a generosity account for gifts and donations that satisfies your brain's new wiring, and an experience account for travel and activities that your brain now values more highly. Working with a trusted financial advisor becomes essential, but specifically one who understands this neurological transformation and can help create systems that protect you while still allowing you to enjoy your brain's new generous impulses. The timing of financial decisions matters enormously. Your brain's financial processing is sharpest in the late morning, between 10 a.m. and noon, while afternoon and evening decisions are more likely to be influenced by emotional rather than logical processing. Having a 24-hour rule for any purchase over a certain amount gives your brain time to engage both its new generous circuits and its remaining logical circuits, leading to more balanced decisions. And now for the number one transformation that will absolutely change everything you thought you knew about aging. Number 1, your brain produces the wisdom molecule that changes reality perception. Here's the discovery that stunned the scientific community. After age 70, your brain begins producing a modified form of neurotransmitter that researchers are calling neurological crystallized intelligence factor, or NCIF, which fundamentally alters how you perceive time, process emotions, and understand complex situations. This isn't just about becoming wiser through experience. Your brain literally starts manufacturing a different chemical cocktail that creates what scientists describe as time dilation perception, where moments feel richer and more meaningful even as years seem to pass more quickly. The posterior cingulate cortex, a brain region associated with self-awareness and perspective taking, increases its connectivity with other brain regions by up to 300%, creating what neuroscientists call the overview effect, the same psychological phenomenon astronauts experience when seeing Earth from space. Your brain's default mode network, the system active when you're not focused on the outside world, becomes increasingly sophisticated at pattern recognition and connecting disparate pieces of information, which is why people over 70 often have sudden insights about relationships and situations that younger people miss entirely. The production of this wisdom molecule peaks during quiet contemplation and gentle social interaction, which explains why people over 70 often prefer meaningful conversations over large parties and find deep satisfaction in simple activities like watching birds or tending gardens. This neurological change actually alters your perception of death and mortality. Brain scans show that people over 70 process thoughts about death in completely different brain regions than younger people, experiencing less fear and more curiosity about the unknown. The really remarkable part is that this wisdom molecule appears to be contagious in a sense. Spending time with people over 70 who are producing high levels of this neurotransmitter actually triggers similar but temporary changes in younger brains, which might explain why grandchildren often feel calmer and more insightful after visiting grandparents. Your brain becomes exceptionally good at what researchers call gist processing, understanding the essence of situations without getting bogged down in details, which is why older people often give advice that seems simple but proves profoundly accurate. The key to maximizing this transformation is engaging in activities that boost NCIF production, meditation or prayer for at least 20 minutes daily, maintaining social connections with at least 3 close friends, engaging in creative activities that don't require perfection like watercolor painting or journaling, and spending time in nature where the brain's pattern recognition abilities are naturally stimulated. Sleep becomes crucial for NCIF production. The molecule is primarily synthesized during REM sleep, which is why protecting your sleep quality directly impacts your wisdom and life satisfaction. Diet influences this too. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish, flavonoids from berries, and compounds in green tea all support NCIF production, while processed foods and excessive alcohol suppress it. The timing of important decisions should align with peak NCIF production, which typically occurs in the morning hours after good sleep and gentle physical activity like walking, when your brain's wisdom circuits are firing at maximum capacity. These 7 transformations aren't signs of decline, they're your body's sophisticated adaptations for the final chapters of your incredible journey. Your body knows exactly what it's doing, rewiring itself for depth over speed, wisdom over power, and meaning over accumulation. The key isn't fighting these changes, but understanding and embracing them, working with your body's new operating system rather than against it. Every single transformation we discussed today is backed by solid science and represents millions of years of evolution preparing you for this exact phase of life. You're not breaking down, you're transforming into something different, something that serves a unique and valuable purpose. If this information helped you understand what's happening or what will happen to your body, please hit that subscribe button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Thank you for watching.